Sally, I was in talks with Anthony Daniels yesterday and just heard from him today. He's feeling good about the election so far. A little bit more about the candidate. He's a former elementary educator, an author, and a graduate from Alabama A&M, so you can see that education is very important to him in his campaign. He says that he wants to push for higher wages for educators, invest in programs for elementary and collegiate students, along with the lottery, using that money to go towards education. 2 years ago, there was nothing behind me. This small knit community, they call each other family, lost 2 members of their community, a mother and a son, and a place that they came almost every single day. Commissioner, tell me what went through your mind when you came down here for the first time after that EF2 tornado. Hey guys, we're at the Montgomery Humane Society with WSFA's Adopt-a-thon. We've got a new guy. This is Gandalf. He's quite the goofball, but a cool thing about his story is he's been here since March. He's almost 3 years old. This is the farthest Troy University's women's basketball team has made postseason, and in just a couple of minutes, in less than an hour, these stands are going to be filled with fans and students.
Well, police have not released much about what happened here, but we do know the investigation has now been turned over to the FBI, which is standard because robbing a bank is a federal crime. This was the scene just after 10:30 this morning. Our crew found Montgomery police surrounding the Liberty Bank, and according to MPD, the suspect walked in, demanded cash, and took off.
Behind me, we've got crews working all around the town of Georgiana, just like this, trying to clear the streets. You see a pile of debris right over there. I talked to the mayor, I talked to the EMA director and the sheriff. They said there's a lot of good to report after this severe weather. Tonight, Amy Dix, a Montgomery woman caught in the crossfire of a gun battle earlier this year, is sharing her story. Shooting on Atlanta Highway left Dix paralyzed and shocked the community. She and her mother shared their story with me in this exclusive story you will only see on 12.
Amy Dix, mother of 1, sister of 4, and friend to many, says her life was filled with love and adventure.
She loved to go and do and be with friends. She was always hardworking. She worked from the time she was 16.
That on-the-go life looks different now after what happened one Friday afternoon.
Do you remember that day?
I remember everything of that day, every minute, every second.
She was driving to a Montgomery car dealership. Her husband needed work done on his truck.
I drove to Atlanta Highway. I was at the red light at Red Lobster, and I heard gunshots, but at the time I couldn't tell if it was fireworks. Like, it really just kind of caught me off guard.
She says she ducked for cover, and when it got quiet, she thought it was over.
And when I sat up in my car, a bullet came through my driver's side window and hit me right here in the arm. At that moment, it was very movie-like. It was very slow motion. I knew I was gonna die. And the first thing I did was pray. And I said, "Dear Heavenly Father, forgive me for the sins I've said and done, and accept me into the gates of heaven."
But it wasn't her time. She gathered enough energy to call her husband and then her mom.
She said, "Mom, I've been shot." And I said, "Who is this, Amy?" It just took me back, and she said yes, and then I could hear the police.
From there, the next thing Amy remembers was waking up in the hospital. She was paralyzed.
Woke up and they told me, I think I already knew. It was just a feeling that I had, and that I knew I wasn't going to have the use of my legs and I would never walk.
From that moment, Amy tells me she feels many emotions: grateful, sad, and mad. Tonight at 10, I'll show you how she's doing 5 months later and how she feels about the 5 suspects charged in this shooting not being behind bars.
No, I don't give myself any expiration dates on anything.
After retiring from her job at JCPenney, Angeline Day felt she had more life to live and learn.
I think I would like to do something and geared more to my peers.
She was thinking of getting a psychology degree.
You know, I can't afford to go to school.
After high school, Day was enrolled at ASU, but couldn't afford to finish. So after all these years, her sons stepped in.
He said, "Well, Mom, I'm not going to give you a Christmas present. I'm not going to give you a birthday present, which is in January. He said, how about if I send you back to school?
For the past 4 years, Day earned her degree right from her bedroom. She admits she loved learning, but like so many students, had her troubles with earning a degree from a desktop.
I love to read. That's not a problem. I'll do the assignment. But now, I'm supposed to put it in this computer. How the hell am I supposed to do that?
Day gave up for just one day.
Seeing that fear of failure that kicked in, and I must do this for myself because this is the last opportunity I'm going to have to do this.
Fast forward to now, she's walking across the stage accepting her diploma from Troy University. She hopes her story will encourage those who don't see the light at the end of the tunnel or fear their time is running out.
Life is probably there because I am closer to the end, than the life I left behind. And I've got to grab as much of it as I possibly can while I can.
She said not too long ago they were having a graduation party with all her friends and family to celebrate this accomplishment. I asked her what's next. She says Dr. Angeline Day has a nice ring to it.
Alabama is a pro-family state, but this ruling is not a pro-family ruling.
Without IVF, the Matthews would not have their 2 biological children today.
It provided hope for a family that I had not really had any luck with.
Now that hope has been diminished. Another Alabama fertility clinic has closed. Alabama fertility specialists in response to the state Supreme Court ruling.
Equating an embryo to being a child means that the legal ramifications of running an IVF lab are simply too great for physicians or embryologists to continue.
Physician Mamie McLean says clinics are closing out of concern they could face criminal charges. She says that will lead to fewer babies being born in the state and result in families leaving Alabama to get treatment.
I think, one, the hysteria has to stop.
But medical lawyer and IVF recipient Gianna Mandich says facilities don't have to close. She says they should first consult with their legal team.
Well, if I biopsy an embryo or if I freeze an embryo, is that harming an embryo? That's not negligent, right? That was intended. The parents contracted for this. That's part of the IVF process. But you will be civilly prosecuted if you destroy embryos without parents' written consent due to negligence.
Mandich says if IVF providers are conducting business ethically, they should be allowed to continue doing business. But until the state legislature clarifies the law, many IVF families are left in limbo.
Alabama Supreme Court has picked the wrong group to pick a fight with, and that would be the people who are already suffering enough.